Hey, welcome to Bitcoin Academy. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most talked about topics in the world, Bitcoin. We're going to break it all down, super simple, so even if you're coming in totally fresh, you'll get what it is and, more importantly, why it matters.
Okay, so before we even touch the tech side of things, we got to ask a much simpler question. What even is money? I mean, at its very core, money is just, well, it's a way to represent value, right? If I do work for you, you pay me. I can then take that money and go buy something from someone else. It's just a tool we all agree on for exchanging value.
So, to really grasp why Bitcoin is such a game changer, we need to take a quick trip back in time and look at the story of money itself. The way we think about it and use it has changed dramatically over the years, and it's all led us to this moment.
We started out just bartering, trading stuff directly, which was super inefficient. So then we moved on to using things that everyone agreed had value, commodities, like gold. But let's be real, lugging gold bars around isn't practical. So what do? We invented paper money, which was basically just an IOU for the gold you had sitting in a bank. And that path eventually led us to where we are today, using what's called fiat money, money that's only backed by government's promise.
And this is the key takeaway, right here. There was this huge shift in what we put our trust in. We went from trusting in a tangible thing, something real and scarce like gold, to trusting in a someone, like a government or a central bank, to manage everything for us. All right, and this is where it starts to get really interesting, because this whole system, the one that's built on trusting a single authority, well, it has some pretty big built-in problems that affect every single one of us. It really boils down to two main problems. First, it's centralized. That means one single group has all the control. And second, there's an unlimited supply. They can literally just print more money whenever they feel like it. And that creates some serious risks for the value of the money you've worked hard to save. So think about it like this. If our money is just digital numbers on a screen, what stops me from just copying and pasting it a million times? It's a huge problem, and it's called the double spend problem. The old school solution? Have a central bank keep one master record book, a private ledger that's kept secret that we all just have to trust is correct. But when you give one single group that much power, you're opening the door to some major dangers. First up, corruption. I mean, think about all those banking scandals where millions of fake accounts were created. Then there's mismanagement. Remember 2008? They printed massive amounts of money to bail out failing banks, and that made everyone else's money worth less. And finally, you've got control. A central authority can literally freeze your account or even take your funds whenever they decide to. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures what happens when that mismanagement goes to the extreme. In places like Venezuela, hyperinflation got so bad that the money became practically worthless. People literally started weighing stacks of bills instead of counting them. That's what happens when trust in that central authority completely evaporates. So for decades, this centralized system just seemed like the only way. It was a problem without a solution, or so we thought. But then, in 2008, in the middle of a global financial crisis, everything changed. Out of nowhere, a paper was published online by a totally mysterious person, or maybe a group of people, using the name Satoshi Nakamoto. And this paper, it laid out a radical new blueprint for a digital currency called Bitcoin, a system that could solve that whole double spend problem without needing a bank or a government at all. So, what is Bitcoin really? At its absolute core, you can think of it as just a shared public record book, a ledger that nobody owns, no single person, no company, no government. It's just a system for sending value directly from one person to another. Okay, so how is this public ledger actually different from the private one your bank keeps? Let's put them side by side and see. And when you look at them together, it's fascinating because they are complete opposites. The bank's ledger, it's private, it's secret, it's controlled by them. But the Bitcoin ledger, which has a special name, the blockchain, it's totally public and decentralized. It's copied across thousands and thousands of computers all over the world. This makes it completely transparent. Anyone can look at it. And because this global network is constantly checking and verifying every single transaction, it becomes practically impossible for any one person to change or cheat the system. That's what we mean when we say it's immutable. It's set in stone. And because this ledger is totally transparent, we can actually go back and see the very first time Bitcoin was used to buy something in the real world. It's a great story. Back in May 2010, this programmer paid a guy 10,000 Bitcoins to get 2 pizzas delivered to his house. So get this. To put that into perspective, Those 10,000 Bitcoins today, they'd be worth somewhere around $700 million. It's just an insane example of how much value people have come to see in this new system over the years. So look, this isn't just some new app for sending money or a toy for tech nerds. What we're talking about here is a completely new way of thinking about money, about value, on a global scale.
I love this analogy. Bitcoin is the internet of money. And it makes so much sense when you think about it. Before the internet, right, information was centralized. A few giant media companies controlled everything you saw and read. The internet blew that wide open and gave everyone a voice. Well, Bitcoin has the potential to do the very same thing, but for money.
So what are the big advantages here? Well, for starters, you have 100% control of your own money. No one can freeze your account. Second, since you're cutting out all the middlemen, transactions can be a lot cheaper. Third, it's programmable. It's smart money, which opens up a whole new world of financial tools. And maybe the most important one of all, it gives financial access to anyone, anywhere. And that brings us to this number, which is just staggering. 2.5 billion people. That's how many people around the world are unbanked or underbanked. They're just completely locked out of this system we take for granted. With something like Bitcoin, all you need is a basic phone, and suddenly you can join the global economy. No permission needed. So what does this all boil down to? It means that for the first time in history, we have a real, working alternative to the traditional financial system. It's a system built not on trusting people or institutions, but on transparent math and code. And that leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. Are we standing at the very beginning of the next chapter in the long story of money?